Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be doing a review on Disgaea 7, so let's get into it. Now, if you aren't familiar with the Disgaea series, they're a series of tactical RPGs that are always set in the Netherworld, and they often feature some type of over-the-top story that involve demons taking on powerful challenges. And this story really isn't any different. And this time around, you'll play as a ragtag bunch of heroes set in the netherworld of Hinomoto. And they'll go on a quest to restore its Bushido code and to stop an evil shogun and his followers by collecting the 7 powerful founding weapons and defeating the evil shogun. And so similar to other Disgaea games, you'll be building a party of a bunch of weird characters that are really over the top. For example, one of the main characters in this game is Fuji, and he's actually allergic to empathy. And so the more that he cares, the more it hurts him. And if he cares too much, it could even kill him. And so that's just one of the many crazy characters you'll meet along the way in this game. And after playing over 60 hours, one key thing that really stood out to me is that it brought a lot of the modern things and quality of life improvements that later Disgaea games have had, but really went back to more of its origin roots in terms of gameplay and difficulty. And so I think this is the best combination it could have done, as I think some of the modern additions took away from some of my enjoyment of the Disgaea series, but I think how they handle it in this game is one of the best ways yet. And so you'll have your standard story missions that you can go through, broken down by various chapters, and these all have unique challenges and things you'll need to do to clear the missions. On top of that, you'll also have the item world that you can dive into, and this is a really cool aspect of the Disgaea series where you can level up virtually any item that you find in the game, making it more powerful. On top of that, they have a system of what's called innocence that will reside in different items, and these actually equate to different stat boosts. And you'll need to find these innocents hidden throughout the item worlds, defeat them, and then you can actually move them around and combine them and add them to your favorite weapons and items, making them more powerful. And so they made this process very simple, and so I like that aspect of it. But on top of that, they also added a new feature where you could actually reincarnate items. And so in the Disgaea series, reincarnating your characters is a way to basically reset their level to the start, but you retain some of your powers that you had gained up to that point. And so it's a way to continually grow your characters, making them more powerful over time. And so they've added this element in the items as well, which is really cool. So it actually allows you to reincarnate these items, reset them back to level 1, bringing a portion of their stats with them. It also gives you the ability to gain extra bonus abilities as well. And sometimes you can reincarnate them into different items or also more rare versions of that item, giving you the ability to power them up even further with a higher level cap. And so I like that aspect that they added that to this game, just another layer of depth, giving you the ability to further power up your characters. Another feature that returns is the Dark Assembly, and this is where you'll go to pass different bills, and there'll be basically an evil senate that will dictate whether these bills pass or fail. And there's a variety of bills that you'll be able to try and pass in this process. It could be things like powering up your character in terms of increasing their movement, the number of counterattacks they can do. It could also unlock more hub world features like the cheat shop, skill squads, upgrading the store items, and more. And so what happens is if these bills don't pass, you can try and influence the senators by bribing them beforehand. You can try and pay them off, or you can challenge them to battle and try and defeat them by force. And so this is another fun element that I really like in the Disgaea series, and it yet again made its return. Another cool feature is the juice shop, and this is kind of a way to power up your characters quickly, where you'll be able to gain experience and mana as you clear different levels throughout the game, and you'll be able to spend this mana or experience right away in the juice shop on your characters. So it can make powering up and leveling up your characters very fast, or to bring new characters that you acquire throughout the story up to the same level as your main team very quickly. And so I really like that aspect as well. As I mentioned, they brought back the reincarnation element, where you can continually reincarnate your characters, making them more powerful. You can change their class as well in this process. allowing them to learn abilities from a bunch of different classes to really customize your character build, unlock new character types that you can recruit as new hires to your team, and much more. Another thing that I liked about this game is they actually reduced the level cap compared to Disgaea 6. And so historically in the Disgaea series, the level cap tended to be 9,999, and as far as I can tell, that's what they brought this back to in this game. And that was one thing I didn't really like about Disgaea 6, where you could get into the hundreds of thousands for your level, and it just became obnoxious and way too much. It was hard to track things. And when the numbers got that high, progression almost became irrelevant, where you were leveling up constantly, and it was really hard to tell how powerful your characters really were. And I think it just took some of the fun out of it. So I like that they brought the numbers back down to a more quote-unquote reasonable level this time around compared to the over-the-top numbers in Disgaea 6. Another thing that they brought is a lot of different quality of life enhancements, which I really appreciated during combat. And so oftentimes in tactical RPGs, once you make a move with your characters, to some extent you maybe have a little bit of options to backtrack, but maybe if you do certain actions, you can't really undo that if you made a mistake in what you were choosing to do. But this game gives you a lot of flexibility in that, where you could move around the character multiple different ways. And if you didn't like where you put them, you could move them somewhere else. And again, this was before they took some type of action. Or again, maybe you set them to pick up characters and throw them to another space, but maybe you actually realize that you threw them to the wrong spot. In previous Disgaea games, you'd kind of be stuck with where you threw them, but this time you could actually backtrack, and so that was really nice as well. Where if you thought you maybe planned it out perfectly with a series of throws and made a last-minute mistake, you couldn't undo that in previous games, but in this one you could, and so I like that as well. They also have the speed up features again that are back, so it can help you speed up the process between battles, making them go a little bit faster, which again can reduce the grindy feel sometimes you get playing Disgaea games. On top of that, they did bring back some of the AI features from Disgaea 6, but they reduced them a bit, which I think is definitely for the best. That was one of my points that I didn't necessarily like as much with Disgaea 6, is that I felt like the AI was too extensive and actually took a lot of the fun out of the game, where you could just really set it on autopilot, do all the leveling up and grinding for you, and you really didn't have to do much, and you could get through the game pretty quickly. Where this time around, you do have those AI features, but there's some set auto battle modes that each character will have. You can certainly dive in and customize them more, but on top of that, you have a limited number of times you can actually use these AI features to auto battle for you, and you can only use it on levels that you've actually cleared before. So you can't use this in the item world to quickly overpower all of your weapons. You have to do that kind of stuff manually. And then again, you can't use this to breeze through the storyline without any effort, because you need to beat the levels first before you can use AI. And so again, I like that aspect to it. I think it was too overpowered in Disgaea 6, where this time you can actually appreciate the grind and appreciate how you're powering up your characters, where I think some of that was diminished in Disgaea 6 with the overabundance of the AI features. Other things that make an appearance again, you've got the Netherworld store, you have your skill shop, which you can teach skills of your characters to other characters on your team and inherit abilities. There's also a squad shop where different squads can be built that will unlock powers for your characters. For example, there's a squad where your team that's in that squad will gain a percentage of the experience that the leader of that squad does. So if you have a really strong character that kills a lot of characters, it can help power up the rest of your team on that squad. There's another feature again where you could have the leader of that squad can teach all of their abilities to anyone else in that squad. So it gives you a cool way to teach healing abilities to your characters, or special magic abilities that only certain types of characters like clerics and mages have. And again, there's a lot of other squads in there as well. But those again are a couple other features that return to the game as well. You also have the cheat menu, which is cool. This can alter the strength of enemies. It can also alter how you gain experience or how you gain money or mana. And so you can turn those numbers up and down to help you reach your goals faster, which is really nice as well. You also have abilities, which are kind of like evil abilities that your characters can equip. and these can give additional boosts to your characters that you'll gain throughout the game. There's different side quests that you can take on, which are little mini challenges. They might be killing off hundreds of a certain type of enemy, reaching a certain character class with a character type, and much more. I will say though that there are so many features like this, like the juice shop, the squad shop, the cheat menu, the different quests, that often I didn't even touch most of those throughout the game, nor did I feel like I needed to. And so while it's cool to have all those different features and areas that you can plug into, I feel like most players probably won't do that much. Where again, I barely skimmed the surface of those, playing over 60 hours. But I could definitely see if you're a hardcore Disgaea fan and you really want to dig into every element and unlock everything, that could take probably hundreds of hours to complete all the quests, do every challenge, and to really max out your character's abilities. Another cool feature that they added is the ability to actually take on other players via online in ranked matches. And so this is another really cool feature. As you progress and really power up your characters to the max and build your ultimate team, you can challenge people across the world. And so that's a really cool feature as well that I think people will appreciate if you really dig into it and want to make the most out of this game. There's certainly also a lot of extra DLC available, further expanding what this game has to offer. But overall, I really had a blast with this game. It's definitely one of the best Disgaea games in recent years. As I mentioned, I think some of the key takeaways is that it brought a lot of the quality modern of life enhancements that past Disgaea games have introduced over the years, but also streamlined some of them in a way that actually maximizes your fun in the game. For example, they reduced the expansiveness of the AI features to really keep the game a challenge and to maintain that high level of fun. And so if you're looking for another new great tactical RPG, I would definitely recommend picking up Disgaea 7, and I highly recommend it. But how do you feel about this game? Have you played it yet? Have you played any of the other recent Disgaea games? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you'd like to help us support the channel, pick out content and more, consider becoming a patron of ours over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And another really cool way you can support the channel is we actually partner with a game store, Nutmeg Games. And so if you like things like board games, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic cards, and more, you can actually go to nutmeggames.com/nerdproblemsgaming or use our promo code nerdproblemsgaming at checkout, and you'll actually get 10% off your order and help support our channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that deal, head to that site and use our promo code there. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.